Well, good morning, boys and girls, and welcome to your favorite TV show, The Courageous Christmas Characters. And today is such an exciting day. It is Christmas Day, the 25th of December. We have been counting down for weeks. And so I would like to wish you a very happy Christmas this morning as you remember that Jesus was born today. And I'm sure you have had such a fun time with your families this morning and today, just being reminded that Jesus came. Well, on to our series. We are on part number 4. And so far we have met up with 3 Bible characters. We met up with Elizabeth, and there we learned that Elizabeth had the courage to trust God even when things did not turn out like she had hoped. And then we met up with Mary, and oh, what a sweet lady she was. And we learned that she had the courage to obey God and when God calls us to do strange things. And then we met up with Joseph, and he was such a nice guy. And we learned that he had the courage to obey God even when what he needed to do was unpopular. And today, I believe Bert has got one of the wise men in the studio, and they have been traveling for thousands of kilometers following a star. Goodness, I do want to hear more about the story. So, Bert, we cross right over live to you.
Well, hello everybody. Well, it's just lovely to see you again. And today, on this wonderful Christmas morning, we've got the Magi. He's just one of a group, but he's a Magi who's come to visit with us. Tell me, sir, what is a Magi?
Oh, it's a fascinating question, really, that. We're quite clever, and we study the books and all the writings and the stars.
Oh!
Yes, it's very interesting, and we kind of do some research on what the different things tell us, That's kind of in a nutshell.
Well, that sounds very clever of you. Tell me, sir, what brings you to Bethlehem?
This is now where it gets very, very interesting, I have to just add. For years, really, years, years, we have been studying this fascinating star. And when a star is so fascinating and you cannot see the star, you tend to go and do deeper research, if you know.
Yes,
and
yes.
This particular star was kind of telling us that a very important king would be born. And actually, the greatest king ever that would ever live, greater than any king.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sure, that's amazing.
This is what we were studying.
Wow, and tell me, you say that star brought you here to Bethlehem?
Well, not actually, if I might just, correct you there. It actually took us to Jerusalem, very interesting enough, because...
Jerusalem?
Yes, Jerusalem. You see, we assumed, based on the star, that it would take us to the king, because, if the greatest king's going to live, technically...
Yeah, of course.
It would be like the king's son,
Yeah, for sure.
So that's where we went straight to the palace, to meet up with King.
Yeah.
But when we got there, we realized that he did not know what we were talking about.
What?
It's rather weird, don't you think, considering he is the king after all?
Yes.
So kind of the king's employees redirected us and to Bethlehem, and so we realized we'd have to go back to following our star, and it actually led us straight to Bethlehem.
Wow.
Right above a stable.
Wow, you mean the star guided you here?
Exactly that.
Wow, that's amazing.
Totally.
And then you met this Jesus, and so you think he's like really a king?
Well, based on all our studies, we would have to say yes, but here's
Yes.
where it gets very interesting. I told you that we followed that star while it moved,
Yes.
but that star stopped moving above that stable. It did not move again.
Wow.
So we had to change our plan and follow that star, and we realized the king, this Jesus, was in that stable.
Wow, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you do when you found him?
Do you know, whenever you meet up with the king, what's the first thing you're going to do? Give him a present, right?
Yes, of course.
Exactly. And so what we did, we bought with us, because we were going to come and present the king with gifts. But when we saw that this king was Jesus, we realized that this was something that the world has never seen before. And we brought gold, frankincense,
Wow.
and myrrh.
Wow.
And each of those have got different meanings in itself if you do want to go deeper one day with me. But we bought the best, the finest we could, as we went to worship and love on this baby Jesus, who is going to be the biggest, best king this world has ever seen.
Wow. Well, clearly you guys know a lot of stuff.
Oh.
And clearly you figured out that this Jesus is going to be the King of Kings, which is why you worship him.
Exactly, Bert.
That's just so amazing. I'm so glad you found him. But you know what? I'm just so impressed with how brave you were and so courageous. You kept on going. You've traveled from like thousands of kilometers away just to worship this king. That's amazing.
Well, it's rather exhausting, but it's been an incredible trip, Bert, I do tell you.
Well, I'm so glad that you came to join us here. And I'm sure you're ready to go home. So you're heading out. When do you leave?
Well, this is where it gets another bit interesting, really, because we were set to go home, and we are going to be going home, but we definitely can't go the way we came. It's really quite hectic. You know, Herod is pretty upset about this new king. You can understand if you were king, you know, like another king, etc.
For sure.
And so he actually wants to kill every baby boy under the age of 2. He's kind of threatened. It kind of makes me feel. And he wants. We need to get a different way home. It's not too safe, you know. So we'll be going a different way, but definitely home. Yes, it's quite tricky the way things are turning out.
Well, thanks for joining us today, and all the best for your travels home.
Oh,
so,
thanks, Bert.
Boys and girls, that's it. We've heard it from these magi, these wise men. Jesus is the King of Kings, and he was born on Christmas Day. Well, that's it for us.
Great story.
Shelley, back to you in the studio.
Oh, well, thank you, Bert. What a fascinating time that was, meeting up with a wise man. Now, I have to ask you a question. Imagine having all your plans changed. Do you think you would get mad? What about that? Well, that's what the wise men could have done. But you know, they didn't do that. They also could have decided that it wasn't worth to keep on looking for a special king when their plans stopped going according to their own plan. But you know what they did? They chose the courage to follow that special star. They had no idea where they were going, but they chose to follow that star. And you know, you and I both can have the courage to trust God, to follow God's lead when things don't go according to our plan, or even when we don't even know what the plan is. The important thing in this whole journey of life is to remember that God actually does guide us, and ultimately we need to follow his leading. One other thing that I do pick up in the story of the wise men is when they eventually got to where Jesus was born, they worshipped him. And so what I want to encourage you to remember to do is worship Jesus for who he is and the guidance that he gives you. So when you reach that place he brings you to, worship him. Never ever forget that part. So what a good lesson to learn, hey? To follow God even though we might not know the plan. Well, boys and girls, that was our 4th character in our series. And would you believe that it is just almost the end of the year, but we have got one more Bible character we would like to meet up with for the 5th part in our incredible series we are busy with. So please do join us on Sunday morning, just 2 more days to go, for the final part of our series. And I wonder who Bert is going to meet up with. Well, boys and girls, that is us from Courageous Christmas Characters. Bye for now and see you on Sunday.